Similarly, there is also a multinational chemical company, DSM, Dutch State Mines, which also focuses on reducing methane gas production from cows. And both these companies are heavily funded by Bill Gates, with him starting to fund DSM a lot earlier since 2014. And from here, the Bovaer supplement comes into light. Now, people are also angry at Bill Gates because, first of all, he is a multi-billionaire and not an ordinary one, but a person who comes in the top 10 richest person list in the world, who almost lives his entire life in luxury. And now he is in his old days traveling around the world in his private jet and talking about climate change. See, digestion and excretion are some natural processes in human as well as in animals, and during those processes, methane gas is released. Now, this Bovaer controversy is all around this methane gas, so let's understand what Bovaer is, what methane gas is, and Bill Gates' role in it. Let's start with the methane gas. Straight to the point, methane gas has several advantages, but with a severe disadvantage, and that is methane gas ability to trap heat. I mean, a huge amount of heat, more than 25 times than that of carbon dioxide gas, and can stay in the atmosphere for over 100-year period. So in simpler terms, it has a huge role in global warming. In humans, the amount of methane gas released is relatively very small compared to animals. And in animals, particularly in herbivorous animals like cows and sheep, or in simpler terms, vegetarian animals, the amount of methane gas released is very high. Now from here, the top billionaire, co-founder of Microsoft, Bill Gates, enters. Interestingly, for the past few years, he has been presenting himself as an advocate for addressing climate change and has supported innovative solutions to reduce carbon emissions across various industries. But instead of tackling the obvious real challenges which are visible to everyone, Bill Gates targeted cows, and from here the real problem started. Now, according to Mr. Gates, cows are more responsible for global warming. So in January 2023, Bill Gates and his team discussed two possible ways to address the methane emissions caused by cows when they burp and fart. Number one way is fix the cows. This means finding ways to stop cows from producing so much methane, like through changes in their diet or other methods. Number two way is make beef without cows. This refers to developing lab-grown meat or plant-based alternative to beef, which wouldn't involve cattle at all, and therefore wouldn't produce methane. In the same month, Bill Gates' investment firm Breakthrough Energy Ventures invested $12 million into an Australian-based startup called Rumin8. This company is working on a solution to reduce cow methane emission by feeding them a special supplement made from seaweed, a type of plant that grows in the ocean, which according to them has been shown to help cut down on the methane cows produce when they burp. Similarly, there is also a multinational chemical company, DSM, Dutch State Mines, which also focuses on reducing methane gas production from cows. And both these companies are heavily funded by Bill Gates, with him starting to fund DSM a lot earlier since 2014. And from here, the Bovaer supplement comes into light. In simpler terms, this Bovaer is an animal feed supplement which is claimed to be designed in a way that, if given to cows, will reduce the amount of methane their stomach produces. And this Bovaer feed additive is mainly developed by DSM, and they have been working on it for a long time. So, till now, I guess you guys could understand how all things are connected with each other. That cow release methane gas through natural processes, but Bill Gates didn't like it, so he funded Rumin8 and DSM-like companies who eventually made technology and products like Bovera to reduce this methane emission for cows. Now, when this news spread that this Bovera kind of feed additive is coming to the market, or several countries' government may soon make it compulsory for cattle, mainly cows, farmers as well as other general public didn't like it. They absolutely discouraged this kind of idea, and they raised some sensible general questions like, number one, why we are playing with nature? If something is a natural process, then keep it natural. Why does every time humans and big corporations keep disturbing nature? The second point they raise is regarding animal health, digestion, and overall well-being. While studies suggest that the additive doesn't harm the animals in the shorter term, question remains about its long-term impacts, which haven't been fully explored. The third point they raised is if the feed additive could reduce the methane emissions, then there is a pretty good chances that it could change the internal balances in cows, with unknown effects on other aspects of animal health or the broader environment. The fourth point they raise is regarding the product made from those cows who eat feed additive food or grass, like milk, yogurt, cheese. Are those products really edible, or will those products lead to severe consequences in the future? Similarly, there are several questions raised by farmers and the general public regarding the feed additive Bovera. As a product developed and marketed by a larger multinational corporation, Bovaer has drawn criticism for potentially increasing corporate control over food systems. DSM, as a key player in agriculture biotechnology, could benefit economically from widespread adoption of its product. This raises concern about the consolidation of power in the hands of few corporations, which could drive policies and market dynamics in the ways that prioritize corporate interests over broader social or environmental goals. Some critics argued that patent technologies like Bovaer could be expensive or inaccessible for small farmers in developing nations, thereby exacerbating inequalities in the global food system. And some critics also argued that adding feed additives like Bovaer doesn't fully address the carbon footprint of livestock farming. Reducing methane is important, but livestock farming also contributes significantly to deforestation, land degradation, and the production of other greenhouse gases like nitrous oxide. The concern here is that relying on Bovaer could divert attention from more holistic approaches to reducing the environmental impact of animal agriculture. Now, people are also angry at Bill Gates because, first of all, he is a multi-billionaire and not an ordinary one, but a person who comes in the top 10 richest person list in the world, who almost lives his entire life in luxury. And now he is in his old days traveling around the world in his private jet and talking about climate change. Second, people are also angry regarding why he is going after cows and funding those companies, and why can't he tackle the real problems which are causing carbon emissions like cars, ACs, aeroplanes, tires and plastic burning, and many more absolutely visible things. Third, he is a US citizen, and the US is the second largest emitter of CO2 with 5,057 million metric tons of total carbon dioxide emissions. For reference, if you think of a truck can carry 20 metric tons of gas at a time, you need about 253 million trucks to carry all that gas. That's enough trucks to circle the earth almost 10 times if lined up in a row. So the simple argument made here is, why can't he tell the US government to put control over their carbon emission? Similarly, there are several points over which people are angry with Bill Gates. The approval process for new agricultural products like Bovaer involve extensive safety testing, but there's always some uncertainty surrounding the regulatory process. Some critics argue that regulatory bodies, particularly in countries with strong agricultural industries, may rush approval without fully considering potential risks. And similar things are happening in the UK, which is also in controversy in front of the world for several reasons, which I talk about a lot in my other videos. And now British people are boycotting Arla food company and their products like milk, which is, by the way, the largest producer of dairy products in the United Kingdom and Scandinavia. And now they are facing backlash for reportedly making products from those cattle, mainly cows, who consume food with additive like Bovaer, which is approved by the UK's Food Standards Agency. So I guess you could understand the depth of the problem. People are also threatening to boycott Tesco, Mauritius and Aldi over this Bovaer issue. But for now, the main question is whether governments are adequately balancing the interest of corporations, consumers and the environment in the approval process, which will be interesting to see. Comment down below if you want a video on any topic that you find interesting. Thank you.
Vaccines are so important.
We'll have new vaccines.
We're taking things that are, genetically modified organisms, and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein. Just shoot them right into the vein. You know, the misinformation about vaccines and associating certain people like myself or Fauci having malign intent with vaccines, that was most acute in the United States. There's no doubt in the next 5 years, we can, you know, we just need to mess around. We just need to mess around. We just need to mess around. There are a lot of lipid nanoparticles, and some are very self-assembly. We'll have a TB vaccine, malaria vaccine, HIV vaccine, HIV vaccine. Vaccines are so important. Yeah, I'd probably have one of the highest greenhouse gas footprints of anyone on the planet. Vaccines are so important.
You've invested $10 billion in vaccinations over the last 2 decades, and you figured out the return on investment for that.
That's a pretty strong number.
Do you think life will fully return to what we thought of as normal?
We'll have, starting in the summer, about 9 months where a few things like big public gatherings will still be restricted. Normalcy only returns when we've largely vaccinated the entire global population. It'll be the last pandemic that we face. You know, we'll have to prepare for the next one. Prepare for the next one. Prepare for the next one. That, you know, I'd say is, will get attention this time.